What up, world? It's your boy Mark Walter Ward, Super Facts Show, Super Facts Network. Fresh off the release of his new album, For The FKN Love, we got Speech of Arrested Development. It's the Arrested Development Project, excuse me. How you doing today, brother?
Doing fantastic. Fantastic, man. Doing good.
All right, before we get into anything, you know, I've been very familiar with your work. I had like at least 3 of your solo albums on either cassette or CD.
Word up. Nice.
Had like 4 or 5 Arrested Developments on a CD or cassette. I know I got at least 2 vinyls back there somewhere. You was asking me about my Funkos. I got Funkos set on top of the records, so I wasn't trying to dig through them to find the Jones and knock all that shit down. It'd be annoying to put them out. But you know what struck me about you, I think in the history of rap, you might be the one MC that is the most uplifting towards females of any race, but particularly of your own.
Yeah. Thank you, bro. I thank you. You know, you might be right. You might be right. But I'll tell you this, it's intentional. It's intentional, you know, it is.
Well, you know, like I'm not gonna get all political, but like I think the biggest problem in the world is that the devil tricked poor people into thinking we're each other's enemies. But that's not neither here nor there.
Agreed.
Whatever the problems is, I truly believe it's gonna be the women that save us.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Because when shit go left in schools, who comes up there and takes care of shit? The moms, you know, like when they destroying our communities, you know. Like I grew up right outside DC. I done did time. My friends done got killed. I don't want all the regular shit. You know, who's there to step up? The moms, the grandmoms.
Yeah, it's very real. That's very real. I totally agree. And they don't deserve the onslaught of dissing that they get. Have you ever heard of the Bacon's Rebellion back in the I think 1800s, 1600s? I forget.
I haven't.
Okay, so you was just talking about the devil's biggest thing was making the poor people feel like they're enemies of each other. Check that out, because that in America was the start of that. So the Bacon's Rebellion, I forget the exact year of it, but all you have to do is type in Bacon's Rebellion for all your listeners, all your peoples. Bacon's Rebellion, like just think of the food bacon and rebellion, Bacon's Rebellion. And it'll give you all of it.
Is this Francis Bacon?
No, I don't know, to be honest. It might be.
Huh.
Yeah.
That kind of rings a bell. I'm kind of more aware of it, like, you know, how they you know, they did it in Russia and with the Jews in Germany, you know, like the othering. But I'm sure they all seem to draw from the same playbook and shit. You know what I mean?
Check it out. You got to peep this. Yeah, you're right. It's a very similar playbook. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love stuff like that. I know everybody on podcasts always says I'm gonna listen to that or I'm gonna send you something, but I will actually But let's get into the new album a little bit. You know, I just did an episode with Dell-P, which I released for the
Word Up.
I released today, and man, he's like becoming an unofficial member of Arrested Development, huh?
It is seem like it, because you know Dell-P. First of all, I've known Dell-P for years now, so like Dell-P is the most sincere, passionate lover of rhyme and hip hop. And so every time I would go to Philly, and he reps Philly to the fullest. So every time I went to Philly for years, like literally about 15 years or more, maybe more than that, he would open up because he would ask. And like, he was always passionate about his skill. And I'm really proud of him. He released a record, I think 2 years ago or last year, that was crazy.
Yeah.
And then we put him on our record, For The FKN Love, on Swing 'Em, and he killed that. And then a DJ named Views put me and him together on a record called Global Moves that just dropped. So, you know, dude
out on like, Dirty Good Bastard right now. Go check it out, Global Moves. That's what led me to find out who he was, and I went and checked him out. And
exactly.
I was telling him on the show, y'all got a real chemistry together.
Yeah, no doubt, and we always have. That's what I love about Dell-P. You know, he's been one of them artists that was similar to me. Everything's intentional that he's doing. You know what I'm saying? He realizes the power of hip hop. He wants to do it right. He wants to make an impact. And he's a family dude. He's a husband. He's like doing all kinds of things that I admire. And I'm just like, you know, definitely, you know, when I meet people that I see are doing whatever they're doing intentionally, then it's like, I want to try to give them a platform. So Swing 'Em was, in my opinion, his biggest platform. Cause like, it's got us, it's got Master Ace, Fat Man Scoop, and then him. You know what I'm saying? So like, out of all of us, we've been doing it for a long time and had a lot of success. And so he's been doing it for a long time, but hadn't had that success. To me, that was an entry point for him for a lot of people to get to know who he is.
Yeah, y'all make sure y'all check out that video too. That video is dope as hell.
Thanks, man.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. I gotta know, like, was this intentional or is this an accident? Do you know on Spotify, on Bout It, you have DJ, I'm not saying you do, on the album credits has DJ Vlad credited as Alex Jones?
No, no, I didn't know that, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I assume because I hear Vlad.
Spotify, okay.
I hear you from Vlad's interview, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I hear him, and I don't see his name, right? But it
has,
but it has Alex Jones featured.
That is deep.
So I was
no. I know what it is now. Now that you mention it. So Alex Jones is not the podcast dude, or
gotcha.
It's the guitarist on that joint.
Oh.
His name just happens to be Alex Jones. It just reminded me when you said that. I was like, what? Yeah. That's what that is.
I was like, what's up with that? Is he bad at Vlad?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No. And so Alex Jones, I never met him in person. That's one of the reasons I forgot that name was even on there. It was one of those situations during the COVID where we weren't meeting people in public, in person to record. And he was asked, I asked somebody to get me somebody that plays like Afrobeat guitar, and this brother did it. And so he played on there, and I never met him, blah, blah, blah. And we just sort of worked it out. But yeah, that's Alex Jones.
Oh, I was wrong as hell, but I was laughing like shit. But
it's a good point, because it's got Vlad at the top, and if you mention Alex Jones in the credits, it just seems like maybe we were doing that on purpose. So I get it.
Yeah. But
I like the fact that you pay attention to detail. That's cool.
I mean, the devil's in the details, right?
It sure is. Facts.
So then y'all also got a video with Big Daddy Kane. But before we even talk about that song, have you ever thought about doing a podcast with Big Daddy Kane about how to age gracefully? Because like seriously, when we was watching that video, right? My wife, like, she's got like one of those, she never remembers who people are, but she kind of does, right? So for me to remind her who Big Daddy Kane is, because she seen like Posse and all that shit, I gotta be like, that's the dude from the Naomi Campbell Madonna picture.
Right, exactly.
And then she was like, oh, he looks good. And then like I told you off camera, she didn't know that she knew Arrested Development as well as she did. So she recognized you from the Everyday People video. And then she's like, oh, he looks good too.
Word up. Well, let me tell you, I appreciate that, because anybody that says I look good when it's compared to Big Daddy Kane, it's like hands down, because all the ladies love Kane. I'm just in his world. And it's like we did the video shoot, and a lot of the people on the set was the same way, like, yo, Kane, especially the ladies. So it's all good. I'm appreciative, man. Your wife's got great taste. Salute.
I couldn't agree more, brother. I could not agree more.
Exactly.
But seriously though, like I don't know how old you is, to be real with you. I saw some where
53.
They said, okay, yeah, like bro, you look. I mean, everybody got a little gray in their beard these days, but from the chin up, you look like about 25.
Thanks, man. I love it.
And Kane was looking like early 30s.
Yep, it's true. Kane is like, but you know what? It was good living, I think. You know what I'm saying? Because me and Kane, we went to a very rich billionaire invited us to a dinner, and it was weird. I've never done this before, but Kane probably has. But it's like, it was one of these private dinners at his house. We never met. Well, I never met the dude, and he wanted all his famous rap stars to come to his crib. So he invited me, Kane, I'm gonna forget a few people, but me, Kane, KRS, Rakim, DMC, Dana Dane, Daddy Kane, I forget who else, Hurricane. So anyway, long story short, me and Kane hung out that night, and we both left early because we're just those types of dudes. Like, it's like, we just left early. And I want to say that might have something to do with how we're aging well. Like, I don't know, but we just was like, I'm going to bed, man. I'm done for tonight. And it was probably like 10 o'clock, say 10:30. And a lot of the people was just getting started. Like, they was just getting into the vibe at that dinner. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know what it is, bro. Yeah. Speaking of the song, man, Cleveland Jones and Tasha Ray definitely did their thing too. It wasn't just you. It just wasn't just you and Kane. Killed it. In fact, to me, Cleveland P. Jones, his singing on that song. A lot of people think he's a woman, by the way, but he's not. He's a dude. And you saw the video, so you know. But a lot of people that hear the song think it's a lady. To me, that was his Busta Rhymes scenario moment, but in singing. Like he came in and just rah rah. I mean, just tore it down. And he was one of those scenarios too that I had never met Cleveland until we shot the video. So I Tasha LaRae, who's part of Arrested Development,
right.
She introduced me to Cleveland via the internet. I told him what I was looking for. I gave him the rough vocals of the chorus. He laid it down, smashed it, and did, literally 10 steps above what I had asked him to do, which is what I love about any great artist. And it was great. It was great. Great.
And did Configure do every beat?
No. He did probably, I'll definitely say at least 3/4 of the album, which was a blessing. Working with Configure has been a dream scenario for me.
He's amazing. I noticed he made a song that he could have placed on a Diggable Planets album in the mid 90s. And then he made another beat he could have placed on a Migos album.
Exactly.
Then there was another beat that could have came from a Spice One,
exactly
jive album. Just a disparity of the sound beds he can create is just.
That's it, bro. That's the reason I reached out to Configure, was because of his musicality and his sound sensibility. Like the dude he was not in just one little pocket. He was really wide with his I don't know, it's just sensibilities of what is dope. And he did a record with my dude Jahi, who rocks with Public Enemy, and he also rocks with Enemy Radio. And he did an album with him, and that was the first time I ever heard Configure, and that was, I think, 2020, maybe. Yeah, I think that was 2020. And so we ain't known each other for long, but bro, we've done Don't Fight Your Demons, which was our album we dropped in 2020. We did that, together, and then 2021 for the FKN Love. So we've done a lot. And he did some joints on my expansion record, some remixes. Yeah.
Damn, bro, when you find something you fuck with, it's all brakes, no gas, huh?
All brakes, no gas. It's like
I mean,
all gas, no brakes. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. Like for me personally, first of all, it's hard to find creativity or creatives that you really mesh with in a good way, and you work with each other and you don't really bump heads a lot. Like me and Configure might disagree on what record we should put on this, or but it's real respectful and it's all love. And so yeah, when it works out right, you want to just. Plus, I believe in sometimes people are in a zone, and I'm in a zone right now. Arrested Development's in a zone right now. So we've been doing music for 20 years since the 90s stuff, and we're just in a zone, and I don't want to press the brakes right now.
Nah, I can definitely dig that. And the last two things about the album, well, this is just a comment. I just want to say I appreciate that you had D1 on a song. D1's one of my favorites, and I wish he had more acclaim and attention. I mean, well, he definitely does for his non-rap endeavors, but I wish people could indulge in his music a little bit more. So
totally agree with you.
Anytime somebody puts him somewhere, I'm always happy to see that. And then also go ahead.
Our next single features D1, which is Yes Always. It's crazy, which is what you're referring to. Yeah.
Oh, are you gonna have a video?
Yep, got a video and dropping a single for it with a remix and everything.
Good. Well, I mean, like I said, anybody who gives D1 a platform, that's something that's good for hip hop in the world. So thank you for that, brother.
Thanks.
And then I noticed, not noticed, I heard it, but you got Freddie Foxx on the album, and I'm curious, do you have any good Freddie Foxx stories?
No, not really. I mean, I loved Freddie Foxx since Gangstar. So the Militia joint sort of introduced me to him, and then I don't know if it's funny, but it's interesting because AD doesn't do a lot of collaborations when you look at our overarching catalog. So this record, we've done a ton of them, you know what I'm saying? Sugarhill Gang, Freddie Foxx, Monie Love, Kane, G Love, just so many people. So when I reached out to Bumpy on for this project, We Are Not in Kansas Anymore, the first thing he said to me, and I love this, was it's about time. And I felt that was so interesting because it's like most people are surprised that Arrested Development and Bumpy did something together. But his vibe was, it's about time. And so I was like, I love this. This this is gonna go very well, because like he realized that we should have done something a long time ago, and I love that.
Man, that's a perfect transition, bro. It's like I sent you a fucking bullet point sheet, because I was about to talk about how I've heard you in various interviews, and I know about it, how back in the early 90s, you know, it wasn't this rift between the, let's say, genres of rap. Like I've heard you say before, like you'd be torn with a Public Enemy or a Luke or a N.W.A. or a Ghetto Boys or a Tribe Called Quest or a Del the Funky Homo Sapien or whatever, you know. And
that's exactly right.
And I'm curious, do you have any good stories from those tours? And I'm not looking for like salacious shit, like who got with a groupie.
Yeah,
like
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm talking about like maybe you might have been in like Minnesota and seen a crowd react to "Fuck the Police," or just been amazed that two people I don't know, anything that comes to mind.
Well, I'll tell you one story from me is that we all respected each other. So like, what I loved about that era is it was totally different music. I mean, totally different music, from like MC Hammer to Public Enemy on the exact same tour. That doesn't usually mesh easily. And today, a lot of the music sounds similar, you know, for those that are on the tours together. So I would say that we often would see each other in the audience for each other's show, not even on the side of the stage, but in the audience. And like for me, I would, you know, be on tour or doing a show with Wu-Tang and Tribe and so on and so forth. And I would be in Gangstar, and I would be in the audience just watching their show. And I love that kind of deep respect for each other that we had, you know what I mean? And I miss that energy. Like I miss the diversity of music that was going on these tours, not just festivals that might be stationary in a certain city or town, but you know, tours with all this different music. So people coming out from all different walks of life. It was what I think music is most powerful in doing.
Do you think that there was a concentrated effort on the record companies to, you know, kind of phase out music of your nature and
yes,
create division?
Yes, definitely.
On their own volition, or do you think that they were directed?
I think I can't say whether they were directed, but I can say this. First of all, I did a whole documentary on this called The Nigga Factory on YouTube. Check it out. Part 1 and 2 is
Thank you for saying that for me, because I wasn't going to.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So Nigga Factory on YouTube. And so, yes, first of all, people got to realize a lot of the major labels have invested in Black Rock Industry, which is a company that also invests in the prison system. Yep. So especially the private prison system. So they need to get these beds.
Among many other fucked up things, like owning many media conglomerates, but please proceed.
No, you're right. And huge media conglomerates, a lot of them are all invested in the prison industry. Well, they need to keep these beds filled. That's how they make their profit. So yes, a lot of this music is by design magnified in order to perpetuate certain messages, while other music is sort of buried in order to keep those messages away from the public. So yes, I do agree with that.
Do you think, well, I mean, I think it's obvious. America is obviously scared of a strong Black leader.
Yes.
You know, history bears that out. And then the ones that get lifted up quite often don't meet expectations. They turn out to be like FBI informants or some shit.
Facts.
But do you think that that might be a part of it as well? You know, the more Black men that go to prison, the less, I mean, there's going to be very few Malcolm X's. You know, it's a lot easier to get to civil rights through college or the church than it is through the jail.
Facts. I mean, you look, it's obvious, like you said, you used the perfect word. If you look at the fact that most Black leaders were either imprisoned falsely as political prisoners or murdered, literally assassinated. So yes,
Fred Hampton, RIP
Fred Hampton, MOVE organization, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey was mail fraud. They pinned mail fraud on him. You know, Angela Davis, so on and so forth. Assata Shakur, exiled. I mean, Black men and women, just you know, it's very obvious.
Hey, this is terrible. But what's my man in Philly? Mumia Abu-Jamal.
Mumia Abu-Jamal still in prison. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I've always, you know, seen that, and I know you've probably seen that copy of the supposed like the meeting of minutes from like a industry meeting where they discussed that we got, and you know, you can tell that that's kind of fake. I think that's like the kind of controlled opposition.
I think it's fake.
Where they
exactly.
where there's something true, and then they put out something that confirms it
exactly
with errors in it, so then people that can then dismiss it and
exactly.
shit. But you know,
that's exactly right, bro.
Yeah. But you know, we've had you for, like you said, over 20 years, still coming through with the positive music. And I'm not gonna fake like I don't like gangster shit. I grew up like that, but you know, there has to be a balance.
Me too. But see, check it out. I listen to gangster music too. If you know, whatever we want to call it. Like I listen to music because I love hip hop. Like I wouldn't exist without an N.W.A. I wouldn't exist without an Ice Cube or Ice-T with 6 in the morning. I mean, these things are, you know, even Just Ice or Schoolie D. I mean, going back to then all the way to now.
Just
like,
Ice, my man.
Yeah, all of that stuff is important to me. Like those records are important to me. So the balance is what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Right, because I mean, like those people, you're talking about a bunch of pioneers that was going up against a corporate system that didn't want to see them succeed in the fucking slightest. And
in the beginning, you're right. They did not want to see them succeed. And later on, they would only perpetuate the worst attributes of what those artists were bringing out at the time. They would basically make the perfect gumbo of that kind of, you know, messaging and only promote that in later years, you know what I'm saying? Like now and for the last probably 20 years, I say.
I was telling my kids about that and they're like, well, why is that so bad? And I'm like, well, you know about those police shootings, right? And they're like, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, let's say this guy lives in like North Dakota or some shit. He ain't never met a black person in his life. The only thing he ever sees concerning black people is like, you know, bad reports on the news.
Exactly.
One president who probably everyone around him was shitting on all the time, and then a bunch of videos where, and not that there's anything wrong with it, like I'd be in them situations too, but those just ain't the only situations. But a bunch of videos where everybody's either, you know, about to kill the ops, or, you know, you got to get a Birkin bag to fuck with me, or here's my new G-string, and that shit gets embedded in their brain, and they become terrified of black people. Like a lot of these cops, I'm not sure that they're evil. I think a lot of them are fucking cowards.
Agreed and ignorant. They don't understand the truth of these situations. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I mean, a lot of fear is born out of ignorance. You know, once you start to understand something, doubt about it.
You know, it's less scary to you.
Yeah, ignorance, not knowing the subject matter and understanding anything, and then cowardly because, you know, they choose violence right off the bat because of their lack of understanding. So yeah.
Well, and then they also think like I mean, sometimes you'll have like a fucking 35-year-old dude that goes to the gym every day that's a cop, and he sees some 14-year-old black kid with cornrows and he's scared. And like he's not gonna whoop your ass, homie. Do the same shit you do to that fucking built ass white dude that you'll fucking take down to the ground, you know?
Yeah. It's facts.
But black youth have been demonized so much, these motherfuckers are terrorized, and then there probably are some around them who are just straight up racist. So it's just an evil brew.
It is evil brew, bro. And what I talk about at a Nigga Factory is that this has been going on for a long time. Like this is not just this, you know, in the last 30 years or so. This idea that black people are dangerous, lack morals, not to be trusted, slithery, you know, dark, all of this stuff, like those things were perpetuated. In fact, check the Bacon's Rebellion again. Those things were perpetuated even back in slavery in order to justify enslaving human beings. And so, yeah, these things are old things that we've got to get rid of. But first, in order to get rid of anything, you got to expose it. And then once you expose it, then you can start to get rid of it and replace it with something way better, you know?
I totally agree. So let's well, I guess I got one thing that might be a little heavy. You know, I was checking out y'all Unplugged, and please forgive me if I say this wrong. Is it Baba Oje? Baba Oje's introduction just gave me, and I never heard it before. I guess I didn't make it to the record store either, or if it did, it wasn't on the end cap. But man, his introduction to the concert gave me goosebumps. Like just even thinking about it now, like that was so well said.
Thank you. That's Baba. Let me tell you, you know, Baba Oje, rest in peace, by the way, he passed in 2018. And the dude, what I loved about Baba There's numerous things, but the main thing is that he was from a whole nother generation. So he saw things differently than we did. You know what I'm saying? So he was able to see the trends of things. He was able to see a lot of cycles of life. And therefore his way of viewing things was just different. And I tell you, like, the intro of Unplugged to me shares that. Like, he talks about, you know, the different eras that he's been through. And it's just powerful to hear that from a man that's actually experienced it. It's not just theory or philosophy. It's somebody that's actually lived it.
Or like I said, I never went to school with another white person, so I went to a black college, right? So I like mad partners who, like, their uncle had been in the Panthers or things of that nature out DC, and I'd sit there and listen to them tell stories and talk about how things change, and that just took me right back to those conversations.
Exactly. Yep. And if you think about it, you know, there was people in the Panthers, they was trying to do and did to some extent do the same things we're trying to accomplish today. So, you know, it's a war out here. A lot of people don't understand that. So a lot of our music is coming from the perspective of wartime. It's like, you know, we're not just all civilians in this, you know, we're soldiers in a sense, if you understand that there's a war going on.
I peeped that. Do you think do you think people miss that? Because there's a lot of warrior imagery. There's a lot of warrior imagery in your merchandising, your products, your covers, your videos.
Definitely. A lot of people miss that. I mean, I think it's getting better over the years. Like, in the beginning, a lot of people thought we were just hippies. You know, we were just sort of clueless, flower holding. I don't know what they thought, but I used to get that a lot from even black journalists. It would be like, I don't know about AD. You know, they don't. Ice-T dissed us in the public back then. He said we was talking about, like, we wanted slavery to come back. Like, he didn't get it either. So
that's just intellectually lazy.
It was so lazy.
Because in this fucked up society, if you want to make it peaceful, how the fuck that gonna happen without war?
Exactly right. So,
like, that's baked into the message. But I mean, you know, I guess there's levels to things, and if a person can get a happy level out of it, and then another person can get motivation to try to change things out of it, I mean, that's like blessing squared, right?
That's very true with our music in particular, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a complex dude by nature. I'm a multi-dimensional dude. You seem to be very much so too. And the thing about that, a lot of the music of AD will feel happy and feel sort of bubbly. And then if you were to just read the lyrics without any of the music, then you'd be like, oh, wow, well, this is actually not all happy, and it's sort of gritty, and some of it's depressing, and some of it's, you know, it's got a lot of layers to it. So you're right. And I meet people who constantly say that I didn't even know what the hell you was talking about on Tennessee until I got blah, blah age. Then I started listening. I was like, oh, wow, this song is about something totally deeper. KRS-One even did that. He called me one day and he was like, you know, in his huge, big voice, he was like, yo, Speech. Then I just got Tennessee, and it was probably like 10 years later or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, I just got it. So, I mean, and I don't think he was lazy, but I just think, I don't know. I think, you know, people are in their own mind space at a particular time, and maybe the song passes by them and they're just like, whatever. And they just sort of push it aside. And then maybe later on, for whatever reason, they're in a different mind space and they can hear it differently.
Yeah, I mean, like, you ever got an album from somebody that you liked and there was a song that you didn't like on it, but then after like 2 years, you end up loving that song?
Definitely. All the time. And not even just songs, whole albums, whole artists for that matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can start to like an artist later on when everyone else been done like them. I'm like, oh, now I get it. I like this dude. Yeah.
Word. So let's finish up by talking about some artists. Going on your Wikipedia page, you know, which I think needs to be updated to like tell more about you. It's just basically like a resume. It's almost like a LinkedIn page. But the people you've toured with. So tell me what touring in Australia with INXS is like.
Drug-filled and crazy. They're rock and rollers. I mean, straight up and down rock and rollers. It was cool. It was cool. I had a good time. I mean,
did you listen to their music before? Were you hip to them?
Yeah, I was hip to them.
And like you had copped it before, like that level. I had like I had like the one iconic one.
Yeah, I think so, because like back in the day, I used to DJ. So yeah, I think so. And I liked flipping, you know, rock type stuff, almost like Big Beat or something by Bob Squire, I think his name is. But like, I used to like rock music and stuff like that at a party.
Well, why
amount
weren't
of
you?
time.
Black people invented it.
Without a question, we did. Yeah, without a question. Yeah. So it was good. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it was a great tour. It was simple. It was Simple Minds and INXS, which is a very interesting mix with Arrested Development.
Yeah. What did that audience look like?
All white, all rock fans. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the hip hop fans didn't want to come to that show because if they was hardcore hip hop fans, they didn't like the other two acts at all, and they figured they'd catch us some other time and, you know, on a tour by ourselves, but they didn't want to pay the money. So long story short, it's packed every show. Don't get me wrong. And I like it. Like, I like the whole cross collateralizing fans. You know what I mean? So, you know, a lot of fans left there way more interested in Arrested Development than they were when they came, you know, that night.
Especially, I don't know when you did it, but in these days, if you did something like that with streaming, like it's a big ask to make somebody go buy your album, like
exactly.
leaving the concert. But now they can go in the car and be like, oh, who is them? And start streaming them. And,
just streaming it.
And then even though the royalties aren't as good, I mean, I guess in that case, it'd be better than no royalty.
Yep. True enough.
Do you think INXS owes Run DMC royalties on the logo?
Wow.
I'm just fucking with you.
That's deep. I never even thought about that.
So you've also toured with Parliament before. What was that like?
Brilliant. You know, George Clinton, Parliament, Funkadelic, George Clinton, that whole clan has made some of the best music that's ever been created. I think it's just, it's beyond brilliant. And George Clinton as a visionary is beyond brilliant. Like, I don't think they would have been able to do it without George, and obviously George couldn't have done it without them. So I think his way of creativity and the way he thinks of things is just has brought some of the most best music that's ever been released. And so touring with them was fantastic. It was confusing, and it was a rivalry going on between him and James Brown. So it was James Brown closing, but Funkadelic was right before him. And night after night, they would go over their time. Wow. And so there was laws for the tour where, you know, James Brown's show had to be cut short. So James is not the type of dude, like, he's a fighter. So rest in peace. And he would fight back. So he would perform past curfew, but all the workers were gone. So literally the stage lights were off. The sound system was off. And anybody that knows James Brown when he was alive knows that he ran his band like an army. Like they were like a boot camp. And so he wouldn't allow his band to stop. So they were playing with no microphone, no wattage. The whole crowd had left. But his point was, you know, he's going to play until his set was over. That was his thing. Even though most of the crowd, like literally for real, 90% of the crowd would leave, and he was still on stage and they were still sweating and playing full energy. So that was like, it was just a crazy experience, man, being around.
Man, that must have been dope for that 10% though, because I would have carried my ass right to the front of the stage.
And you easily could, because there was nobody else there basically. And you couldn't hear a lot of stuff. Like, you know, with a concert, there's a lot of instruments that you just can't hear without a sound system. Like, so the keys was gone. You know, the only thing you could really hear was drums and him screaming. It was funny, but it was like, that was James Brown. I mean, I've done a lot of shows with James Brown too, and Funkadelic for that matter. And I've been in the studio with Funkadelic, well, George Clinton in particular. So it's, you know, these dudes come from another era, man. It was war, like as we talked about a second ago. A lot of times it was war on war with acts too, like just trying to get that spotlight.
And then, you know, they got the whole James Brown put him in the game thing going on too. So, you know, you always want to overcome your mentor.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So they had that thing too. You know what I'm saying?
Did either of them ever comment to you about AD's music?
George was always complimentary. James Brown was an iffy kind of guy. So James was, you know, like the first day I ever met James was on this tour. And He walked downstairs into the lobby. I was already in the lobby. Me and my whole crew. The lobby was filled with a ton of musicians that were on the tour. And I said, "Good morning, brother James," just like that. And he cussed me the hell out, man. This dude went off on me so hard and said, "You need to call me Mr. Brown, and you have no respect, and your clothes look bummy, you look bummy." I mean, just like, just went off on me. I mean, dude went off on me out loud in front of everybody. This is the first time I ever met James Brown. I was so mad, man. Like,
damn, that'd be soul crushing, man.
Dude,
sorry,
it was
brother.
soul crushing. It was soul crushing. Plus, obviously embarrassing. Number 3, the fighter in me came out, and I'm like,
you ain't start making fun of him, did you?
I didn't, but I wanted to. And so then, you know, it's a war in my mind between wanting to respect this brother for everything that I absolutely adore about his music and everything he's given to me musically, and in the fact that he's dissing me in front of everybody. So,
and the war, you gotta respect everything about yourself as well.
Exactly. So I mean, I think the thing is like, okay, well, I'm not gonna mess with you anymore. So then we go to the next show, and he's all nice to me. Like, I don't like messing with people like that who, you know, I don't understand where they're coming from. So that was James as far as on a personal level with me and him. Musically, I mean, literally just a genius.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Shit, he was like the first Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, I mean, just a beast, not only with records, but live, an absolute beast. Just incredible.
Do you consider yourself a Southern rapper?
Yes and no. I'm from Milwaukee, so I'm born and raised in Milwaukee, but the group came out of the South. So, you know, as time has gone on, Southern rap has changed what defines it as Southern rap. You know what I'm saying? Where when Arrested Development first came out, by far, we were the largest and most successful Southern rap group to come out of Atlanta at that time, by far. And then Crisscross came out like very soon after. And so, I mean, the facts of the matter is,
well, you had like the Attic Crew and stuff. There was a couple major label acts.
Who's that?
The Attic Crew.
I don't know them. Okay. Yeah, I don't know who they are.
They actually had a young T.I. on one of their retails. It was the first retail he was ever on. And
when was that? What year was that?
Like 97.
Oh, yeah, that's later than. I'm talking about like 91, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Like back then, I'm saying, like, at that point, there wasn't a lot.
But I mean, Attic Crew had like 90. The T.I. album was like their 5th one. You know, they had stuff since like 90.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not familiar with them, but salute to them. I'm not dissing them. But as far as like,
yeah, y'all was definitely the biggest.
Yeah, as far as the reputation of getting the South out there and letting the South be heard, as Andre would later say, you know, the South has something to say. Like, to me, Arrested Development said that as well back in 91 and 92 and 93.
You know, when I heard the Global Move song with Dell-P, I was struck by that. Like, I'd never even thought about it, but like, y'all were kind of the pioneers, and y'all don't get enough credit for your contributions to Southern rap.
That's what I said on my first line. You know, every time my mouth opens, another negative stereotype about the South is broken.
Yeah. You ever met Cuckoo Cow?
From Milwaukee. Never met him. Legendary dude. Everyone talks to me about him. But see, I was rocking hip hop in Milwaukee back in the early 80s. And I don't think Cuckoo Cow was out then. And then, so I didn't know him. And then I left Milwaukee in 87 to come to Atlanta. So, you know, people talk to me now about Cuckoo Cow, and you know, but I've never
no overlap. Yeah.
No overlap.
Who else? Do you know anyone else nice from Milwaukee or Wisconsin?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Strict Love, who rocks with Master Ace. My man Antoine Mack, who's crazy from Milwaukee. Classic, who's a beast from Milwaukee.
Is that with a K?
Yep.
At the end.
Yep.
Yeah.
Classic. He's a beast.
I got one for you.
Kamazi. Yeah.
You know, Dipset, did you know the Offset, offshoot group, they had the Senate?
And what about him?
Taj Mahal is originally from Milwaukee. He then went
really?
He then went on to be in the Coke Boys and, you know, have solo songs with Ross.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Ross.
I did not know that.
And I've always said in Dipset, if you consider the whole collective, I think Cam's the best lyricist. But I always thought Taj was tied for number 2 with N.W.A, N.W.A, dude from Bird Gang that sound like Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Like unintentionally. Like his voice just naturally sounds like it, which like fucked his career up. If it didn't, he probably would have got way further.
Way further. Exactly. Yeah.
And the last thing I was like really interested in is your mother's paper. Did she found it? She started it?
Yeah, she did. It's called the Milwaukee Community Journal.
And it's the first Black newspaper in Milwaukee.
It's the largest, not the first.
Largest, gotcha.
Largest Black newspaper in Milwaukee. Is 44 years and going strong.
Can you hit me with the origin story? Because like I know 45 years ago, a woman starting a newspaper is no small feat.
It's not
a woman of color at that too.
No doubt. So what happened is back in the riots, there was huge riots going on in the 70s in Milwaukee. And basically a lot of the Black businesses were burned down, destroyed. And when those businesses came back up and they wanted to try to get people to come back into the neighborhood again and buy and shop, they were looking for somebody to do it. Well, my mom was a teacher at the time, and she put together a pamphlet called the Soul City Shopper. And the Soul City Shopper was, the whole point of marketing was, we'll put all your ads in this and I'll distribute it throughout the community. That ended up being a thing. And so the businesses started getting business, started getting love. And then she turned it into a little pamphlet. Then the pamphlet turned into a newspaper. And now the newspaper became the Milwaukee Community Journal. So that was 45 years ago. And as you already said, this is right at the heels of all the assassinations of Malcolm X, Martin Luther King.
Riots all over the country.
Riots all over the country for various race reasons that were going on. So yeah, that was the origins.
Damn, bro, you should produce a documentary.
Man, bro, you ain't lying. Like I was literally telling my mom that recently because she's now 82, and
there's an aggregator service. I ain't gonna say the name of it because they don't like it known, but I'll tell you after we exchange information. But it's only 7 stacks to put some on Netflix or Amazon Prime.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. I know good prices on vinyls. It pays to know things in these worlds, brother. Like you said earlier, it's in the details, right?
It always is. Yeah, it always is.
All right, so let's finish with this. Can you drop your socials, the best place to find you, and what we can expect for AD and yourself for the rest of 2022?
So we're promoting Don't Fight Your Demons. We're promoting, well, we actually are. We're promoting Don't Fight Your Demons, which came out last year. Or 2 years ago, and we're promoting For The FKN Love on vinyl. So all of our vinyl joints are dropping in March. We're going on tour throughout all of Europe, throughout March, and a lot of places here in the United States as well. And then dropping our new single, Yes Always, featuring D1 in Black History Month. So that's going to drop. And my socials is @speech__ everywhere. So whether it's on Twitter, Instagram, we're really only those two because I don't rarely go to Facebook. So @speech__
You got the same avatar on both of them?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Well, if y'all looking for him on Twitter, a bunch of speeches come out. His is it's like a white circle filled in with green with an S in it.
That's right. That's mine.
Yep. Well, shit, brother. Thank you for your time, and stay on so we can knock off the Throwback Thursday real quick. But I appreciate it.
You too, man. Thank you.
No doubt. What up, world? It's your boy Mark Walter Ward, Super Facts Show, Super Facts Network. Fresh off the release of his new album, For The FKN Love, we got Speech of Arrested Development. It's the Arrested Development Project, excuse me. How you doing today, brother?
Doing fantastic. Fantastic, man. Doing good.
All right, before we get into anything, I've been very familiar with your work. I had like at least 3 of your solo albums on either cassette or CD.
Word up. Nice.
Had like 4 or 5 Arrested Developments on a CD or cassette. I know I got at least 2 vinyls back there somewhere. You was asking me about my Funkos. I got Funkos sitting on top of the records, so I wasn't trying to dig through them to find the Jones and knock all that shit down. It'd be annoying to put them out. But you know what struck me about you, I think in the history of rap, you might be the one MC that is the most uplifting towards females of any race, but particularly of your own.
Yeah. Thank you, bro. I thank you. You know, you might be right. You might be right. But I tell you this, it's intentional. It's intentional. You know, it is.
Well, you know, like I'm not gonna get all political, but like I think the biggest problem in the world is that the devil tricked poor people into thinking we're each other's enemies. But that's not neither here nor there.
Agreed.
Whatever the problems is, I truly believe it's gonna be the women that save us.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Because when shit go left in schools, who comes up there and takes care of shit? The moms, you know, like when they destroying our communities, you know, like I grew up right outside DC. I done did time. My friends done got killed. I don't want, you know, all the regular shit. You know, who's there to step up? The moms, the grandmoms.
Yeah, it's very real. That's very real. I totally agree. And they don't deserve the onslaught of dissing that they get. Have you ever heard of the Bacon's Rebellion back in the I think 1800s, 1600s? I forget.
I haven't.
Okay, so you was just talking about the devil's biggest thing was making the poor people feel like they're enemies of each other. Check that out, because that in America was the start of that. So the Bacon's Rebellion, I forget the exact year of it, but all you have to do is type in Bacon's Rebellion for all your listeners, all your peoples. Bacon's Rebellion, like just think of the food bacon and rebellion, Bacon's Rebellion. And it'll give you all of it.
Is this Francis Bacon?
No, I don't know, to be honest. It might be.
Huh.
Yeah.
That kind of rings a bell. I'm kind of more aware of it, like, you know, how they you know, they did it in Russia and with the Jews in Germany, you know, like the othering. But I'm sure they all seem to draw from the same playbook and shit. You know what I mean?
Check it out. You got to peep this. Yeah, you're right. It's a very similar playbook. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love stuff like that. I know everybody on podcasts always says I'm gonna listen to that or I'm gonna send you something, but I will actually but let's get into the new album a little bit. You know, I just did an episode with Dell-P, which I released for the
Word Up.
I released today. And man, he's like becoming an unofficial member of Arrested Development, huh?
It is seem like it, because you know Dell-P. First of all, I've known Dell-P for years now, so like Dell-P is the most sincere, passionate lover of rhyme and hip hop. And so every time I would go to Philly, and he reps Philly to the fullest. So every time I went to Philly for years, like literally about 15 years or more, maybe more than that, he would open up because he would ask. And like, he was always passionate about his skill. And I'm really proud of him. He released a record, I think 2 years ago or last year, that was crazy. Yeah. And then we put him on our record, For The FKN Love, on Swing 'Em, and he killed that. And then a DJ named Views put me and him together on a record called Global Moves that just dropped. So, you know, dude
out on like, Dirty Good Bastard right now. Go check it out, Global Moves. That's what led me to find out who he was, and I went and checked him out. And
exactly.
I was telling him on the show, y'all got a real chemistry together.
Yeah, no doubt. And we always have. That's what I love about Dell-P. You know, he's been one of them artists that was similar to me. Everything's intentional that he's doing. You know what I'm saying? He realizes the power of hip hop. He wants to do it right. He wants to make an impact. And he's a family dude. He's a husband. He's like doing all kinds of things that I admire. And I'm just like, you know, definitely, you know, when I meet people that I see are doing whatever they're doing intentionally, then it's like, I want to try to give them a platform. So Swing 'Em was, in my opinion, his biggest platform. Cause like, it's got us, it's got Master Ace, Fat Man Scoop, and then him. You know what I'm saying? Right. So like, out of all of us, we've been doing it for a long time and had a lot of success. And so he's been doing it for a long time, but hadn't had that success. To me, that was an entry point for him, for a lot of people to get to know who he is. Yeah,
y'all make sure y'all check out that video too. That video is dope as hell.
Thanks, man.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. I gotta know, like, was this intentional or is this an accident? Do you know on Spotify, on Bout It, you have DJ, I'm not saying you do, the album credits has DJ Vlad credited as Alex Jones?
No, I didn't know that, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I assume because I hear Vlad.
Spotify, okay.
I hear you from Vlad's interview, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I hear him, and I don't see his name, right? But it has, but it has Alex Jones featured.
That is deep.
So I was
no. I know what it is now. Now that you mention it. So Alex Jones is not the podcast dude or
Okay, gotcha.
It's the guitarist on that joint.
Oh.
And his name just happens to be Alex Jones. It just reminded me when you said that. I was like, what? Yeah. That's what that is.
I was like, what's up with that? Is he bad at black?
Yeah, exactly. No. And so Alex Jones, I never met him in person. That's one of the reasons I forgot that name was even on there. It was one of those situations during the COVID where we weren't meeting people in public, in person to record. And I asked somebody to get me somebody that plays like Afrobeat guitar, and this brother did it. And so he played on there, and I never met him, blah, blah, blah. And we just sort of worked it out. But yeah, that's Alex Jones.
Oh, I was wrong as hell, but I was laughing like shit. That shit.
But it's a good point because it's got Vlad at the top, and if you mention Alex Jones in the credits, it just seems like maybe we were doing that on purpose. So I get it.
Yeah, but
I like the fact that you pay attention to detail. That's cool.
I mean, the devil's in the details, right?
It sure is. Facts.
So then y'all also got a video with Big Daddy Kane. But before we even talk about that song, have you ever thought about doing a podcast with Big Daddy Kane about how to age gracefully? Because like seriously, when we was watching that video, right? My wife, like she's got like one of those, she never remembers who people are, but she kind of does, right? So for me to remind her who Big Daddy Kane is, because she's seen like Posse and all that shit, I gotta be like, that's the dude from the Naomi Campbell Madonna picture.
Right, exactly.
And then she was like, "Oh, he looks good." And then, like I told you off camera, she didn't know that she knew Arrested Development as well as she did. So she recognized you from the Everyday People video, and then she was like, "Oh, he looks good too."
Word up. Well, let me tell you, I appreciate that, because anybody that says I look good when it's compared to Big Daddy Kane, it's like hands down, because all the ladies love Kane. I'm just in his world, and it's like we did the video shoot. And a lot of the people on the set was the same way, like, yo, Kane, especially the ladies. So it's all good. I'm appreciative, man. Your wife's got great taste. Salute.
I couldn't agree more, brother. I could not agree more.
Exactly.
But seriously though, like I don't know how old you is, to be real with you. I saw somewhere
53.
Okay. Yeah, like bro, you look. I mean, everybody got a little gray in their beard these days, but from the chin up, you look like about 25.
Thanks, man. I love it.
And Kane was looking like early 30s.
Yep, it's true. Kane is like, but you know what? It was good living, I think. You know what I'm saying? Because me and Kane, we went to a very rich billionaire invited us to a dinner, and it was weird. I've never done this before, but Kane probably has. But it's like, it was one of these private dinners at his house. We never met. Well, I never met the dude, and he wanted all his famous rap stars to come to his crib. So he invited me, Kane. I'm gonna forget a few people, but me, Kane, KRS.
What up, world? It's your boy Mark Walter Ward for another Throwback Thursday episode. We got Speech with us. How you doing today, brother?
Doing fantastic.
We just gonna quickly discuss an Arrested Development project from 2019, the full expansion album, which I just really loved. I discovered it when I was doing my research for my episode with you. I had missed its release, and I just found it to be an incredible project with just so many artists I want to find, hear more of their music. So first off, I want to know, how did you find such a large collection of talented artists? Like, I didn't detect a dud in the bunch.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And this is a solo record, by the way, not an AD record, but AD is on there.
I'm sorry.
And honestly, I was in a zone. I was in a zone of wanting to collaborate with younger people in particular. Like, at that time, I was 50, and I wanted to collaborate with people in their 20s. It's just because, like, I felt exhilarating vibes when I was in the studio with them. And a lot of them look at people my age and feel like, it probably ain't gonna be dope. And then when it was dope, they were surprised, and I was exhilarated. So it was just good energy, you know what I mean? And so it was a young producer named Rambo that really started off that project with me and him. And he was doing some cool beats, unknown artist, but I liked his stuff. And then Keandra, another great singer that I knew from church, who I knew was a beast singer, but never had an outlet, never had a platform. So we started creating stuff. A brother named Mom Brew, who is a beast on producing, and so on and on and on. There's a lot of different people on this record, but I'll say that it was really my way of trying to connect with younger people and just do stuff with them, collab with them.
And is Vagabond a collective, a company, both?
Both. It's my company, Vagabond Productions. I've owned it since '93, I think. And then I was trying to do sort of like a native tongue thing. It didn't work out, but initially it was going to be like the Vagabond Family. And then I turned it to Speech and Vagabond Family because streaming platforms, you know, we didn't want to start from 0 followers on our streaming platform calling it the Vagabond Family, right, when Speech already had a lot of followers. So I was like, okay, well, let's just do Speech and Vagabond Family. So, you know, it's a long story, but long story short, yeah. And I hadn't done anything since with Vagabond Family for numerous reasons, mainly because me and Rambo sort of fell out. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm still grateful we did this record because it was a beast project.
No doubt. And finish it out. On that song, Do It, who you think had the hardest verse?
To be honest with you, I love my verse the most, but
me too.
I love Keandra's, you know, singing on that joint. I mean, and forget about the music, dude. When that beat drops, that is one of the most sound score movie-esque beats that you could ever play. I mean, to me, that song is a hit that never became a hit. That's what I feel.
Yeah, like that album, not For The FKN Love, but the what was the album before it?
Don't Fight Your Demons. Yeah, Don't Fight Your Demons.
I didn't even get a chance to listen to that because I ended up listening to Expansion over and over, and I looked at it. I listened to Do It like 23 times in one day.
Man, let me tell you, like me and my trainer and my wife's sister, we train and in my garage, and we would play that literally, like you said, back to back, because it just it's mellow, but it has this drive thing that when you're trying to do reps and sets and trying to get your health together, you know.
Bro, no bullshit. Great. I just like this morning I put together a weight sled. You know what a weight sled is? Like the shit you put the bars on and you slide it. And I was listening, and like after I put it together, I ain't have the energy to work out.
Right.
So I took a little pre-workout and put Do It on repeat. And
there you go.
And knock 20 minutes out off the no bullshit this very fucking morning.
I love that. See, that's what I'm saying. That's what we used to do, like back to back, and it did the trick. It did the trick.
You know? I mean that's super. What's up? Hey, y'all make sure y'all check out the new Arrested Development album For The FKN Love out right now. Speech, thank you for joining us for this Throwback Thursday. And
no doubt, man.
And if you stay on real quick, let me holler at you real quick.
Okay, cool.
All right, man. Appreciate it.